of the person who texted me saying, why do you talk about Mad Dog 15, 20 times a show? Well, because they want to be on TV, Mad Dog, just like you and Ben and the rest of the crew back there. All right. Let's go. The IRS is the largest collection agency in the world, and with April 15th fast approaching, less than 2 weeks away, folks, it's more aggressive than ever. In 2025, enforcement has ramped up, and if you owe back taxes or have unfiled returns, waiting is not an option. The longer you wait, the worse it gets for you. Ignoring your tax troubles is the worst thing you can do. April 15th marks another tax year that's passed you by. Getting ahead of this now is the smart move, but never, 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 I added a third never, contact the IRS alone. Instead, let the experts at Tax Network USA handle it for you. Why? Because not all tax resolution companies are the same. Tax Network USA has a preferred direct line to the IRS, meaning they know exactly which agents to deal with and which to avoid. That's really good knowledge to have. With proven strategies to settle tax problems in your favor, whether you owe $10, $10,000, or $10 million, Tax Network USA's attorneys and negotiators have already resolved over $1 billion, with a B, $1 billion in tax debt. Talk with one of their strategists today. It's free. Stop the threatening letters. Stop looking over your shoulder and protect yourself from property seizures and bank levies. Don't let the IRS control your future. Call 1-800-905-8000 or visit tnusa.com/RAV. April 15th, just under 2 weeks away, around the corner. Act now before the IRS acts first. All right, folks, the Democrats continue to relentlessly defend illegal aliens and terrorists and thugs like MS-13 members. I understand disagreeing over politics, but why would anyone in their right mind want a violent criminal organization roaming freely in our own country? Caroline Levitt took a minute to remind the Democrats exactly what they're fighting so hard to protect.
Let me tell you why we've made this commitment. MS-13, may I remind each and every one of you, is a brutal and vicious gang. They raped and strangled a 20-year-old autistic woman to death in Maryland. They hacked 4 people to death with machetes in a park on Long Island. They have kidnapped, sexually tortured, and shot a teenage girl in Texas after she insulted them, allegedly. Killed and mutilated a 17-year-old girl in Virginia, stabbing him 16 times and cutting off his hands. They beheaded and cut out the heart of a man in Washington, D.C. They raped and murdered a 13-year-old girl in California. They sex trafficked a slew of young girls, including one who was just 12 years old. Raped an 11-year-old girl in Brooklyn while her brother was in the room. These are vicious criminals. This is a vicious gang. And I wish that the media would spend just a second of the same time you have spent trying to litigate each and every individual of this gang who has been deported from our country as the innocent Americans whose lives have been lost at the hands of these brutal criminals. We maintain our position in very
People are
strong.
garbage. They're trash. They're horrible. They're breaking the law. Being here, they get here, they continue to break our laws. They broke their own laws. That's why they became gang bangers. What the hell do we want these people here for? And why are you protecting them, Democrats, you lunatics, you loony nut jobs? What are you doing? The View just produced its first head scratcher of the week, but again, it's only Thursday. Apparently now they want to cancel laws written by white men. Take a listen to this. Well, listen harder. Listen harder. Listen harder. You can hear it? You can hear it? All right, let's get out of this. Let's get out of this, Mad Dog. Let's get out of it. Well, he was saying something like they want to cancel laws written by white men. I wonder if Elie Meisel, that guy who was just saying Elie, whatever it is, I wonder if he realizes that the U.S. Constitution was written by all white men. You want to rip that? Oh, you probably do. You're a liberal, Democrat, progressive nut job. We usually don't see a lot of nonsense from our friends in Texas, one of the other free states, not as free as Florida, of course. But the latest House resolution, I'm not sure where they came up with this and why they're doing this. Take a listen.
And consider H.R. 32.
Members, you've heard the motion. Is there any objection? Chair is none. The rules are suspended. Following resolution, the clerk will read the resolution.
H.R. 32 by Lalani recognizing Pakistan Day at the state capitol.
Oh, hell no. Pakistan Day in Texas? What is the point? Where is the upside? Who are you trying to please? Texas? Pakistan Day in Minnesota? Sure. In New York? Okay. California? Every day's Pakistan Day in California. Texas? Governor DeSantis, no Pakistan Day in Florida. Jasmine Crockett either slipped up badly here or truly just never has any idea what's actually coming out of her flapping mouth. She let the truth come out when she was talking about the left's legal lawfare against Trump. Listen.
Because we have people that are currently serving and they're saying things like, ignore the judge's order. What it means to have law and order in this country is that you follow the order and you go through the appeals process, even if you dislike what the judge did. Thank you. And
So basically, the left's stupid plan is to keep Trump tied to appeals courts for the entirety of his second term. Who does that help? And by the way, if you do that, he's just going to run for a third term. He's just going to run for a third term, and your heads will explode. Sonny Hostin from The View just entered another baseless argument against voter ID laws. Listen to this one.
The reason Democrats don't want voter ID is because they make it much more difficult for elderly people, people that don't travel, don't have a passport, poor people that don't have cars, don't have driver's licenses. So it's sort of a vestige of, I think, post-slavery laws where Black people had to prove their right to vote, and oftentimes they couldn't vote because they couldn't pass some crazy test or they didn't have the appropriate ID. It also affects women that are married. Maybe your passport reflects something that's different on your birth certificate or on your driver's license. So really the bottom line is voter suppression. And I agree with him 100%. It's a brilliant notion that less voter ID laws allows more people to vote. And most democracies do it that way. We're the only ones that really don't do it that way.
Oh, you dummy. Sonny, I know you're an attorney. You're a dummy. I've been on the View twice, and she was the meanest one of them all. But that's not why I'm saying this. No voter ID laws. Yeah, it absolutely allows more people to vote. Ones that are not supposed to vote. The ones that are illegally voting. That's the whole point. Stop the illegal voting. We just found out this week that Doge found several million illegals with Social Security numbers, which means they can vote, Sonny, and they're not allowed to. Check the freaking Constitution. I love scrolling through X or TikTok and getting reminded on a daily basis that this country is facing a crippling mental health crisis by Democrat liberal leftists.
Happy Pride Month! Let's talk about my pronouns. So I use Z, them, zir pronouns. These are a singular pronoun, so you conjugate it the same way you would with he or she. So Z has green and purple hair. I like zir makeup, and I think that cool vest belongs to them. So that's how you use my pronouns. Let me know if you guys use neopronouns, because I think they're very cool, and I like hearing all the variations of them.
All right, you nut job. Here's my pronoun. Shut the Z up, okay? Go home. You're losing it. I'm done with this. We're going to go to break right now. I can't take it. I need a break. I need a sip of coffee or something. We'll be back in 2.5 minutes. Very nice picture of Atlanta. Real nice picture. Beautiful city. Beautiful city. Nice weather. I think they just missed a big storm that was just traveling west to east, a little bit north of them. Tennessee and Kentucky got walloped, folks. So you've heard me talk. Oh, there it is. Hello, Skycam. Hello, Skycam. You've heard me talk about Patriot Mobile for quite a while now. You probably already know that for years they've stood in the gap for every American that believes that freedom is worth fighting for. They're the real deal, folks. So let me ask you a question. Have you switched to Patriot Mobile yet? If the answer is no, then I have to ask, why not? Are you worried about coverage? Don't be. Patriot Mobile is one of the few cell phone service providers that operates on all three of the major cell phone tower networks. Fact is, if you have a cell phone and a cell phone service in this country today, you can get exceptional or even better service with Patriot Mobile. That's why they offer a coverage guarantee that others can't. Or maybe you haven't joined Patriot Mobile because you think maybe the switch is painful. Well, I'm here to tell you it's not. In fact, it's easy. No need to spend hours in a retail store waiting your turn. Simply call Patriot Mobile's 100% US-based team from the comfort of your own home or office, and they'll have you activated in minutes. Still locked into a contract, you say? Not a problem. Patriot Mobile's contract buyout program covers up to $500 per device. Keep your same number, keep your same phone, or treat yourself to an upgrade on the phone. Back to my point. What are you waiting for? It's time to join Patriot Mobile today. Support faith, family, and freedom with every call and text you make. Don't wait. Do it right now. Do it today. Go to patriotmobile.com/RAV or call 972-PATRIOT. Use promo code RAV and get a free month of service. That's patriotmobile.com/RAV or call 972-PATRIOT. All right, Democrats. Democrats want gang members and criminals in this country.
Your tax dollars are paying for them to be housed there. They didn't just pay for the flight. The tax dollars are paying for every single one of these men, many of them now innocent people who are not gang members, to be housed in a prison and they were sent there with no due process.
Oh, I'm sorry. No due process for the criminals. They broke the law getting here. They continue to break the law. They want due process for violent gang members who are in our country illegally. Due process, she says. And they want more of that due process for illegal criminals than for their own countrymen and women. And why? Well, they need the votes. On Monday, get this. The DNC, Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, Team Obama, the whole leftist insane clown posse, they're suing President Trump over his executive order to stop non-citizens from voting. You believe it? They want more illegals voting. That's what the lawsuit's about. This is no longer a conspiracy theory by conservatives like me and you. They're on a mission to replace American voters who no longer want them. If you ever wonder why the Democrat Party has about 21% approval rating at best, look no further than this grown toddler meltdown by a U.S. senator.
But we, the people, are powerful. We are strong. We have changed history. We have bent the arc of the moral universe. And now is that moral moment again. It's the moral moment again. God bless America. We need you now.
This man represents the entire Democrat Party personified. Let's be clear. Cory Booker filibustered nothing. He prevented nothing. He accomplished nothing. So, yeah, he's the personification of the reinvented, the new Democrat Party.
When is it going to be enough? My voice is inadequate. My efforts today are inadequate to stop what they're trying to do.
You're right. You accomplished nothing, Cory. Well, actually, what he did accomplish was becoming a walking ad for Depends adult diapers. So Cory decided to take over the Senate floor, filibuster, and filibuster he did for 25 hours, beating the record. Go, Cory! Except we're not really sure what he was trying to achieve other than a world record and soiled underwear. And what was Cory crying and whining about out there on the Senate floor in his adult diapers? Was it in defense of those who've died at the hands of illegal migrants? Oh, hell no, not that. Was it to defend those in North Carolina and California who lost everything they've had to natural disasters? No, not that either. So what did he do? Well, simply put, Cory Booker did all of that for 25 hours, the world's longest filibuster ever, all in the name of, drumroll, defending illegal alien gang member invaders and terrorists. I'm not kidding you. They want them here. They're dying to have them here. This is all they want in the world, is to have illegal criminal migrants to hand out Social Security numbers to so they can illegally vote in our elections, and also have the added bonus of terrorizing our city's streets in the process. Watch that liberal progressive nut job, Jamie Raskin, practically begging to keep the scum here in America,
while appealing whichever ones they want to appeal, and to demand the return of people unlawfully taken to El Salvador on that so-called plane full of gangbangers. And I especially...
Nobody loves an illegal invader gangbanger than a Democrat does. Makes them do wild things like stand on the Senate floor for 25 hours, crying, begging, pleading, peeing in your own adult diaper just to be allowed to stay. A grown man willing to pee into an adult diaper on C-SPAN, that's how you know it's important to them. But they're just not willing to let President Trump protect Americans. Absolutely not. No way. You see, they're counting on these judges, the activist judges, to stop what Trump is doing from happening. They're banking on the fact that these judges were the only thing standing in the way of removing those thugs from this country once and for all. But what they didn't count on is this kind of revolution this time that's forcing. It's time to end the corruption. These judges have relied on their unwarranted power for far too long. It's time to stop them. It's really becoming a problem. These judges, these activist judges, are horrible. They're ruining the Constitution. They're ruining the country. Doesn't matter how many senators decide to cry and wet themselves on the Senate floor to try and prevent that from happening. We have to stop these activist judges, period, at all costs. Elections matter. That's why elections matter. When you have the White House, the Senate, and the House, you put your own judges in. Elections matter. Tuesday's House hearing on just that, judge overreach, produced an amazing moment when Jasmine Crockett, Jazzy Jasmine, who talked about simply dealing with the judge's ruling or going through the appeals process, was put in her place then and there on the outright hypocrisy by crying Dems.
AOC, as we know her, filed articles of impeachment on Justice Thomas and Alito. Ms. Crockett was one of the co-sponsors, along with Mr. Cohen, both members of this committee. It does seem interesting that when the shoe is on the other foot, everyone is self-righteous.
Well done, Congressman. And Newt Gingrich absolutely nailed it with his opening statement.
In his first inaugural, President Lincoln warned that if the Supreme Court held supreme rule, quote, the people will have ceased to be their own rulers, having to that extent practically resigned their government into the hands of that eminent tribunal, close quote.
Knew it was good. The people will cease to be their own rulers. The judges are crucial to their battle. It's the only weapon they have left. And they know. George Soros knows this, which is why he poured so much of his own money into that Wisconsin race. Elon Musk, also understanding the importance of that race, also threw his money behind the Republican candidate. And that's all the leftist machine and legacy media they want to draw attention to. Elon Musk. Not that Soros did the same thing on the other side. Soros has forever funded judges, soft on crime DAs, BLM protesters, pro-Hamas protests, but it doesn't matter. To them, the issue is clear. Elon Musk is making too much noise. He's saying too many things that make sense, and he's successfully exposing what the left is trying to do. And Jake Tapper admitted that truth. It's not okay with Elon Musk when he gets involved, but it's okay when George Soros does the same thing because he's quieter in the background.
Anytime anybody brings this up, a Republican will say, well, what about J.B. Pritzker, and what about George Soros, and what about this, what about that? And I guess the answer is you don't see George, first of all,
George Soros
you don't see them out there talking.
Yeah. No.
Right? I mean, they might be giving money to organizations, this and that, and people can criticize that if they want. But the idea that, like, oh, no, I am going to tell these voters, forget, like, hiring Scott Walker to do it or somebody on the Milwaukee Bucks. I'm going to tell them.
Got it. George Soros doing America killing stuff in the shadows is okay to the Democrats and the media. Musk doing America saving stuff in the spotlight, not so much. And all because of one thing. President Donald Trump, spending 25 hours talking about one man and thinking that sitting up there in your ivory tower, you're acting like some sort of hero up there. Well, that pretty much is the Democrat Party in a nutshell. Democrats, what a tangled web we weave when we hate one man more than we love our fellow Americans. And we love power and control far more than we love our own country. Before we head to break, I just want to remind you all about my podcast and YouTube page, which are both updated daily with brand new, unique content, folks. I want to let you hear the show, listen to the show whenever you want. Tons of other new content anytime, anywhere. Be sure to subscribe now so you don't miss out. Very important to subscribe to my YouTube page and to the podcast. All right, we will be back in 2.5 minutes. Snow still, Wyoming. Wow, looks like fun. I don't know. I moved to Florida because I hate the cold. Grew up in Chicago. Yep, liberal Chicago. I live in nice, warm, conservative Florida. All right, so yeah, I talk to Mad Dog a lot. Mad Dog, can I grab the control room shot? And you have the big shot? You have the big one? Oh, the overhead and the back shot, Mad Dog? You got that? There's the guys up front. Yep, it's coming up. All right, you have to switch it. So we roll. It's all right. You got it? Talk to me.
I don't have it.
Give me the other one. All right, give me the other one, the close-up shot. Okay, there it is. All right. So they say, why are you always talking to Mad Dog? We have that tweet. There it is. Hey, Eric, what's your obsession with Mad Dog? You mentioned his name 15, 20 times. I don't think it's 15 or 20 times. Maybe a handful of times on bump-ins. But look, these guys work hard. I like to give them a little bit of exposure. Tell their friends, watch the show. You know, see us hanging out. They work really hard. They do a great job with the show. A couple of things that we missed in one of the other blocks. two stories. But Elon Musk put all of the Tesla vandals on notice. He knows who's behind the string of attacks, and he's not going to sit back and do nothing about it. He's going to go after him. Watch.
General Bondi has said the same thing. I believe that is exactly what will happen.
Do you know who they are?
We're coming for them.
Do you know who those generals are?
We know. We do.
Yeah, they're going to come. Pam Bondi, ready for you. Ready for you. Love Pam. Still waiting on that Epstein stuff, but let's go. In the meantime, let's go find out who these vandals are and throw the book at them, because they're domestic terrorists. The Democrats are making plenty of noise and causing tons of problems, yet nobody agrees with them at all. Listen to CNN break down the latest Democrat approval numbers.
Holy Toledo. Voters' views of the Democrats in Congress among all voters disapprove 68%. And look at the approved number, just 21%, even lower than the Democratic Party at large. This is the lowest on record for Democrats, according to Quinnipiac University polling. You think these numbers are bad? Let's go to this side of the screen. We'll look how Democratic voters feel. Get this. The plurality of Democratic voters disapprove of Democrats in Congress at 49%, and just 40% approve. Horrible, horrible, horrible. Oh, my goodness gracious, you just can't get worse than these numbers.
Yeah, they're crashing. They're crashing and burning. And they have the lunatics like Jasmine Crockett still out there talking about how, DEI matters. You have that Eiley Meisel guy who's on MSNBC or CNN, whichever one that's saying that it doesn't matter if the deportees are gangbangers. They've broken the law and they're gangbangers. It's like they deserve due process. You're out of your freaking mind. They're not American citizens. We don't have to offer them due process crap, okay? Stop, Democrats. Oh, there it is. There's the back of the room shot. That gets everyone in there. You don't want to leave anyone out. Trish in the back row there. Wave Trish there. Tariffs. I need to talk about tariffs. I was hoping to have Steve Bannon come on. He's got tied up. He was in D.C., obviously hobnobbing with the rich and famous. He's as he does. He knows everyone. But tariffs, so this big downdraft in tariffs. Okay, let's hope that the market finds a bottom, gets its footing. We can put that up there, guys. This is the Dow today and the various markets. The Dow, S&P down anywhere between 4% and 6%. The good news was oil was also down $5, 7%. That's helpful. But there's an issue I have, and I wanted to talk to Steve about it. And I actually sent this into the folks at the White House. I tried to get it to Trump. I've tried to get it to Trump several times today. I have no response coming back, and it's really concerning me. They sold this as a tariff retaliation. In other words, we were only going to do what other countries were going to do to us with tariffs, and we were going to be nice to them, lenient on them, and only do half of what they're doing to us. But the problem is they said it was a tariff coming in, and the ones we were paying going out, and they came up with a tariff number for other countries. I was having a hard time finding it. But I realized at some point, and I hope I'm wrong. You tell me if I'm wrong. I don't think I am. The number that they're using, all of those numbers, Howard Lutnick held up the big sign yesterday in the Rose Garden. He had, China, India, every country, and they had a number, and they said it's tariffs plus difficulty getting into their markets. I don't think it's that, because I took every single country on that list and I did a math calculation on it. And what I found was it's the actual trade deficit with that country. So $100 billion with country X divided by the total number of exports from that country. So if it was $300 billion and we had a $100 billion trade deficit, it was 100 divided by 33%. As their tariff. And it's not a tariff. It's based on a trade deficit. I hope I'm wrong, but every single country worked out that way, with the exception of the ones that we had a trade surplus, and then we just slapped 10% on it. I just don't want Trump out there saying it's one thing because his economist told him it's that, and it was based on some entirely different calculation. We'll find out. Before we go, I just want to remind you about my podcast and YouTube page, which are both updated daily with brand new content, different content. Yeah, you can get this show, but you get shorts, you got exclusive interviews. Sometimes I'm doing things that I'm not allowed to use language on cable news, but we do it on YouTube. I need you to subscribe. I want you to subscribe to YouTube and my podcast because I want you to see everything we do. I love you guys. Have a great, I'll be in Orlando tomorrow. Won't be in this.
Well, today, I think people on Capitol Hill feel the same way that finance ministers all around the world feel. It's a Pepto-Bismol moment in the marketplace, and finance ministers around the world are now holding onto their stomachs. People at kitchen tables and at workplaces all across our country are holding onto their stomachs. We're in one of the greatest wealth destruction days in the history of the world. And up here on Capitol Hill, I think Republicans right now aren't thinking about popping bottles of champagne, but maybe popping bottles of Pepto-Bismol over the next few days to really determine what is going to be the impact on our economy when J.P. Morgan and Goldman Sachs are both saying there's a doubling of the chance we're going to have a recession this year because of Trump's actions.
Like this, I wouldn't go diving in and buying stocks tomorrow. A bottoming in the stock market is a process, not a point in time. So you have to be really, really careful if you're a trader about when to get in and when to get out.
All right, that is going to do it for us. Down nearly 4% for the Dow.
For investors, what is your advice today?
Okay, whatever money you may need for the next 5 years, please take it out of the stock market right now, this week. I do not believe that you should risk those assets in the stock market.
Even if you would take a tremendous loss and selling your stocks at this decline, you say take it out?
I don't care. I do not care where stocks have been. I do not care where stocks have been. I care where they're going. And I don't want people to get hurt in this market.
But if you need it after 5 years, then don't touch it.
Well, yes, if you have that much flexibility. I'm worried about unemployment. I'm worried about your purchases that you may need. I can't have you risk that in the